Hi everyone, welcome to my Authortube channel. My name is Meredith E. Phillips. I am a writer, reader, and bunny mama. This is my very first YouTube video, so it's probably going to be a little bit awkward, but we're gonna go with it. Of course, I'm going to do the ubiquitous Authortube Newbie Tag. Now, there are two versions of this tag. There's the 1.0 and the 2.0 by Jenna Strady, and I like questions from both of those lists. So this is the Authortube Newbie mashup. I'm gonna be answering questions from both of those lists based on which questions sounded interesting to me. The first question is, what is your book's pitch? I have quite a few books I've worked on over the last 4 years, but my current work in progress is an adult romance set in 1880s Kansas. Stranded in a 2-bit Kansas town, Eleanor Cunningham longs to continue her journey to the West Coast, but finds herself simply struggling to survive. Joseph Bedford desperately wants to convince his father that he is capable of running the family's successful New York City business, but is completely out of his depth on the dangerous frontier. When the unlikely pair teams up, tensions sizzle as they begin to see each other in a new light. Will either one be willing to risk giving up what they thought they wanted for something they thought they'd never have? The second question is, if you were a book, how would you pitch yourself? This was so hard to come up with, but here we go. The most reserved girl on the block contains a multitude of deeply loved but niche interests and wants nothing more than to find others who share those passions. But is she willing to risk the blank stares of ignorance that crush her soul when she dares to open up? Question number 3 is, what do you usually write? I have primarily written adult romance and young adult fantasy. Question number 4 is, what is something you will never write? I do not ever see myself writing mystery or suspense novels. I am the type of person that can never guess the endings to those kinds of books or movies or shows, and the idea of plotting that kind of mystery, it is beyond what my mental capacity can do. So kudos to those of you writing that type of stuff. It's not in my ballpark for sure. Question number 5 is, are you a plotter, pantser, or plancer? The answer is yes. I've done all 3 of these different things, and I think I've finally settled into plantsing. When I first started, I did a lot of pantsing. I just sat down and started writing whatever was in my head, and while that was a lot of fun, and I'm really proud of some of those early things I did, even though they will never see the light of day because they're a disaster zone, it was way too hard to take the absolute trash fire that resulted from pantsing and turn it into anything decent. Then I tried plotting really heavily with really detailed outlines, and that worked a little better, but then I found myself bored with the story because I knew literally every time a character was going to breathe. So I've settled into plantsing, where I definitely have characters worked out, I've got major plot points worked out, but the sort of in-between stuff is still a little bit of a mystery while I write my first draft. Question number 6 is, when did you start writing and why did you start writing? I can give you an exact date for this one. It was April 1st, 2016. I was driving to work and I had this idea, and I got to work, I was really excited about it, and I jotted down some notes. When I got home, I was still excited about it, so I started writing a whole bunch of notes about it, about the characters, about the world, about the magic system, about all this different stuff. After a few days of all this note-taking, I decided to write a scene, and I did, and it was really fun. Then I decided, well, maybe I should start at the beginning of the novel instead of a random scene in the middle. So I started writing on April 4th, I think. By mid-May, about 6 weeks later, I had 112,000 words of a first draft. It was a mess because I pantsed the entire thing, but it's one of the things I'm most proud of, frankly, because it was so much fun. It was so much fun to just sit and write whatever was coming into my head and not worry about whether there were character arcs and all the kinds of things that now I worry about while I'm writing. But that was a real joy. I will literally never show it to anyone because it's so messy. It's so messy. I'm so proud of it, but also not into sharing that. Question number 7 is, do you use a computer, a typewriter, a notebook, or some other method to write? Typically, what I do is use my computer. I do all my first drafting. A lot of my outlining goes on the computer too. I do like notebooks though, especially when I am doing those sort of initial notes and taking down my ideas and sort of brain dumping. There is a connection that happens between the brain and your hand when you are handwriting something. I find that handwriting those types of notes really churns up more ideas and gets me really thinking. Question number 8 is, what is your publishing path? Do I plan to traditionally publish, self-publish, or am I just writing for fun? I definitely started just writing for fun. I am in no way interested in self-publishing. That is absolutely incredible, I think, for the people who do that. I am so impressed because there's so much that goes into having a successful self-publishing career, and I am in awe. I can't do that though. I feel like I have no expertise in a lot of the areas you need to have expertise in. I would definitely be interested in traditionally publishing. At the moment, I'm still sort of working through the writing process though. Question number 9 is, what is your biggest writing struggle? And for sure, right now, that is revision. I have spent 4 years doing basically only first drafts, and that's been a lot of fun. I feel like I know how to first draft. I enjoy first drafting. Taking a first draft to a revised second draft is so difficult. I feel like I'm trying to put together a puzzle with a blindfold on. Like, there's a lot of threads to keep track of. There's a lot of things that I want to fix. There's a lot of things that I want to include. It feels very messy. So I'm doing my best. I'm working through it. Hopefully by midsummer, early fall, somewhere in that time frame, I'm gonna have a finished second draft of this adult romance that I'm working on. Question number 10 is, which authors have inspired your writing the most? In terms of romance authors, for sure, Mary Balogh is my absolute #1 favorite. She is so wonderful. Her stories are very character heavy, and she has a wonderful atmosphere that she creates in her Regency romances. If you've never checked out a Mary Balogh book, please do so. She is an absolute delight, and I feel like people don't talk about her as much as they should. She's so good. She has beautiful writing and beautiful stories. Highly recommend. Other romance authors I like, of course, Lisa Kleypas, come on. And if you want a really funny, like, rom-com style book, Jill This is your girl. For fantasy, I absolutely love Victoria Schwab, whether she's writing for young adults or adults, and also, of course, Queen Leigh Bardugo. She is amazing. Question number 11, what content do you plan to bring to the Authortube platform? I have quite a few ideas that I'd like to share with you. I do want to do some work in progress and sort of vlog style things, but I also have a lot of writing resources, tips, advice that I think I can share and hopefully will be interesting. I also really want to share book recommendations. I know BookTube, of course. I'm subscribed to a lot of booktubers, but one of the classic pieces of writing advice is that if you want to be a good writer, you need to be a reader. And I don't find a lot of writing channels, a lot of Authortube channels have book recommendations, and I want to include that on my channel as well. Question number 12 is, what's your goal for starting this Authortube channel? I want to provide consistent content that encourages audiences to pursue their writing goals. I want to foster meaningful and authentic relationships between other writers. And finally, question 13 is, am I looking for any writing buddies, CPs, beta readers, writing groups, etc.? And the answer is absolutely. I'd love to have more writing buddies. I'd love to have new channels to follow. I'm not yet really looking for critique partners or beta readers, but I will be sure to tell you when I am. Okay, that's it. That was my very first Authortube channel video. I am very hot and a little nervous about how this is gonna turn out, but I'm gonna try to edit it together and share it with you guys, and I hope you will come back next week for the start of a new series. Thank you so much for watching. Comment and subscribe for more content coming soon. Thanks. Bye. Okay, my hair is going to be in like 25 different arrangements by the time this is over, but you know what? We're going to work with it. Page 1 done. Good job. You're doing great. You can do it. You can do it. Okay.